So Ronan and Charles, what is the editorial difference between going from Channel 4 to Netflix? Was there any big change in how much control you had?
No, I don't think so. I think, going to Netflix, I mean, as I said, the form is different, telling it over 10 hours, which is always the ambition for Ronan from the start, to be able to tell there's so many stories and intertwining ensemble characters. In terms of the process, no, Netflix has been great, actually. I think, listen, it helped by the fact that we had a successful show before, that tone was there, it was a core team retaining it, and just speaking to what, Kane was saying, from Drake's point of view, the first thing he ever said when we started talking about it is, I can be the gasoline to your fire. You guys know what you're doing. My job is to help spread that word. That's kind of the role. And so Netflix as well, in terms of, we've established this show, we've got the same people involved, same team, whether it's casting directors, producers, writers, lead cast, it's, the core is there. So get on and do it. So from that point of view, really supportive. Yeah.
And is there a hope for an American version? Because that's another rumour that's doing the rounds.
No.
Okay, we can all breathe a sigh of relief.
I mean, the thing, just to echo what Kane said, when we sat down with Drake, he wasn't coming in and saying, it could be this or it could be that or anything. It wasn't like that at all. He just said, I think they were on tour, and one of his guys had come into the hotel room and said, you've got to see this, you'll love it. He watched it. He couldn't understand why it had been cancelled. Then when he met us, it was clear. All he said to me was, when we were there, all he said was, I just want to make this happen. That was it. And he did the bulk of the pitch to Netflix and was just passionate about it. And nobody at Netflix, nobody in Drake's team, nobody said anything other than just go on and do what you did before. That was it. So there was no, as Charles says, there was no particular difference between Channel 4, Netflix in that sense. They both, trusted us to get on with it, and we did.
And you have indeed. Were there any actors that were in the first two series that you'd like to come back but couldn't?
I don't think so. I mean, what you think about is you're 6 years on, and where are those characters going to be 6 years on, and we wanted to get some new faces in as well. So no, we pretty got everybody that we wanted to come back. Yeah.
But with a new home comes hopefully a bigger budget. Did you go elsewhere?
So again, in terms of
new home, more money.
A little bit. Still, the DNA is the same as the show. Yeah. I mean, listen, the cost of making television drama per hour, as I'm sure anyone in this room knows, from 7-8 years ago to what it is now has changed drastically. So even just to pull off Top Boy at the same level, you couldn't quite do what we did before. So it's, incrementally, but it's not suddenly changed and becomes a different show. We did, in terms of production values and internationally, which I think is what you are referring to in some of our shooting locations. We shot some of the episode in Jamaica. But in fairness, that was always going to be the case, with Channel 4 as well, when we were going to do a third series. So, again, I don't think it's changed. I mean, there is a little more money, but it's about kind of just keeping, the rise of costing, making television now. Yeah.
Are those people from the world who were consulted on dialogue given credit?
Some of them are. But, if somebody... So I wrote in one scene, there's a lot of books in this room, and the kid goes... I wouldn't say it like that. And he goes, there's bare books in this. And now the person who suggests that, I don't know if it's the kid or somebody else, but you can't credit everybody. But we have a deal with a couple of people.
Yeah, they're all part of the team. We have a fantastic, Jerry is your...
Jerry does that, and he did I wrote the Jamaican dialogue in Patois on the page, and obviously I couldn't do that. But Jerry, who's Jamaican heritage and goes out there a lot, just sat down with me, and we wrote it in Patois. So, but he's credited.
Yeah. He's credited. He's at the read-throughs. He's, what I mean.
Yeah,
it's,
very much involved.
We all know that, and we all appreciate Jerry's involvement. Yeah.
Another question that we've had is: do you think it's irresponsible to depict scenes of violence and drug dealing in the current climate?
No. I don't believe it's irresponsible, no, not at all. you know, as I probably, you know, said 100 times today, I think art, and, you know, I come from music background, and in my music, my art is always about telling truth and talking about situations that go on, you know, and art should never be censored, you know, to tell either a rapper not to talk about crime that's going on in your ends is ridiculous, and to tell a TV show to not depict crime on our TV screens that is really happening is also ridiculous. So I don't think it's irresponsible. I think you can shoot it in a way that becomes irresponsible, you know. But I remember having, I don't know much I could say. I remember having an interesting conversation with Brady, who's one of the directors. He directed like the third block of Top Boy, which is probably 5 and 6 maybe? Six and seven. And there was one particular attack, I won't say which type of attack, but he spoke about he didn't want to film this attack and then have the camera follow the people that done it, you know, celebrating, you know. He felt a responsibility to film the attack and then stay with the victim so we can see what this kind of weapon does to a person's body, you know. And the way he spoke just really let me know that I was in the right hands, you know what I mean? Because, yeah, as a grown-up, now, getting older, I do think about the imagery that I put out, you know, both on a musical level and in acting as well. And part of me coming back to Top Boy, I was really not concerned, but I was interested to see where my character went, and I definitely wanted to humanize my character and have present a more rounded human being. And I think with the 10 episodes, we're allowed to do that. So with Sully, you get to see why he does what he does. You know, you get to see him love, you get to see him lose, you get to see, you know, the consequences. And before, we didn't really have enough time to do that to its full extent. But I'm really proud that I got to do that this time, because I am conscious about that imagery. But as I say, you can do it in the right way, and I feel like Top Boy does it in that right way.
Yeah.
Lil Simz, Michael? Are you just in agreement?
Yeah, literally. Yeah, same thing what Kane said, especially when it comes to music as well. It's real life, it's what we see every day, it's what we experience. So to shy away from that, I think doesn't make any sense. It is ridiculous. So it's important that we show it, and yeah, exactly what he said, do it in the right way.
Yeah, it's just not irresponsible, because you actually see families breaking down and stuff like that. And if you think families breaking down and showing all of that aspect to it, is like you're showing people real life, and these things actually do happen. So no, we're not irresponsible for doing so.
Because like I've been lucky enough to see the first 4 episodes, and I would agree with you that you get to see, and forgive me for this, but the softer side of people, as well as why they do what they do, which I don't think was, because of time, able to see in the last season.
Yeah.
Is that important? Is that an important part of the tale to tell?
Yeah,
Definitely.
sure.
Yeah, I believe it's massively important. But I was gonna ask, see, in terms of you and being like obviously a woman, and in this kind of world, like what do you feel like you kind of represent for, you know, other young women out there in a show amongst all of this kind of aggressiveness?
I guess my character's obviously grown up in ends around these people, and I've in my real life I've done that as well. And even like someone like my character, I know someone exactly like that in real life. So it's for me having to channel that person and making sure I get it right, because this is someone's story I'm telling. And
You speak to that person?
yeah, for sure. That has
see.
mirrors like the character exactly. So that's who I'm representing. So it's got to be done properly.
Yeah.
And did you find it easy to slot into this world? Because I don't think the female representation of this world has ever really been shown before.
Yeah, no, I did. And I think as well, working with, you know, Ashley and having loads of conversations with him, and I know we done rehearsals and chemistry reads, and getting to know more about how he feels in terms of the softer side of his character, because he's always seen as like just like this top boy, and just, I guess, essentially breaking his character down helped.
Brilliant. We'll go back to the questions from the audience. So, tough question, but in a white industry, how hard is it to get a show like Top Boy commissioned?
Well, I don't
Like
know. I mean, listen, when Channel 4 made this show, it felt, you know, they were, you know, that's a brave decision, but no, you know, it felt like Channel 4 were doing what Channel 4 did and doing what nobody else did, which was a predominantly black show, a kind of urban gang show, as it was labelled. You know, to make that, I mean, it's much more than that, but kind of, and I think that was the thing, when Channel 4 didn't go forward with a third series, there was nobody else that would touch that. I mean, cut to 6 years later, I mean, it's a completely different, you know, climate now, and there were, I think, many people who would jump at the opportunity to have made Top Boy again. Many companies, I mean, they were chasing us, but, you know, I think Netflix was our favourite choice, and felt like that the power and global reach they had, and the fact that the show they bought Top Boy, the first two, it had been on in America, it started to build a fan base, it just felt right. But yeah, I mean, much easier now than it was then, totally different.
And just I'll touch on something that you spoke about earlier, about, you know, black representation and, you know, black directors, women directors. I've only ever done Top Boy, really, so I only know, you know, that's all I know. I walk on set and I see, you know, a diverse crew around me, but Ashley always lets me know that's not how it always is. Mm-hmm. Like, this is lucky, you know. He's been working for years on film sets, and he, you know, it's never like this. So he's like, I'm very proud to be a part of that set, but he's always like, trust me, this is the only job. And Neil said the same thing again. This is the only job you kind of ever do that looks like this. So, you know, something to be proud of. And, you know what I mean?
It's very unusual to make up behind the camera. I mean, as well as in front of the camera as well, but behind the camera, across the board, walking on the set, particularly this series, you know, fantastic Yvonne, our series producer, you know, driving that, putting together such a, you know, eclectic crew. It was great. It was wonderful to be on set. And it was really different. You know, I've been on a lot of sets, felt very different. And part of that all feeds into, you know, as well as wanting to do it, and it feels the climate and this and that. I mean, listen, you talk about authenticity, and I guess as a, you know, a producer, and, you know, for Ronan and I, kind of gauging and bringing back this show and not losing it, and it kind of becoming something different and falling into an American splodge. All of the decisions about this, about the people involved, and I mean, that, you know, that's the bits that we can do to try and push it in that direction, and then leave it for those people to kind of, you know, deliver that. That's all, yeah.
And on that note, I'm sorry to say it's the end of our session, but before you go, we do have a little bit extra, but I'd just like to thank the panel, Charles, Michael, Little Simz, Kane and Ronan, for joining us.